y'all. Y'all see my notes. Sideline. Hey y'all, it's your girl, My Desire. Of course, I am back with the one and only Jamal. What's going
What's
on,
good?
boo?
Just another day in Hollywood.
Another day trying to get them Beyonce tickets.
Saying I feel like,
Listen, that's a thing. Anyway, welcome back, Big Old Bum Media. We got a spoiler review for you today. Episodes 3 and 4 from Harlem, dropping on Prime Video at February 3rd, which is actually in T minus. I can't count. Lord help me. 5 hours, right?
4 hours and
Ain't it midnight?
39 minutes. Yes,
but midnight. 7 plus 3 is 10. We short.
I said 4 hours and 39 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. See, you mathing. All right, math is mathing. All right, so let's jump in. Episodes 3 and 4 are very interesting. We definitely dive deep into some very, very much needed topics of conversation. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have this is actually, you know what? This is actually one of my fun episodes because
I enjoy this a lot.
Marijuana thing, and we're gonna get to that just in a little bit. But Ian and Camille are disconnected, not having sex, right? Not they just not hitting it. You know what I mean? At this point, they are.
How does this work?
Competing against each other's exes or what they think they like and don't like, but haven't had a conversation. And people do this all the time. Instead of actually talking about sex, they try to just have sex and they beat around the bush, which is pointless. But yeah, so of course she tells the girls that they haven't been hitting it off. And Angie says, don't talk about it, just do it.
Like Nike.
Right. Ty says, go and get you some edibles and chill out and have fun. Now, when Ty said edibles, I'm not sure she meant the whole selection that the store had, because they did the whole selection. They had edibles and sodas and cakes,
cookies.
It was too much. It was too much. And for anybody who has done marijuana, right?
Married to Joanna.
You know damn well that if you have too much, okay, it will put you down.
It will put you in the ground, is what it will do.
Down. I mean, I ain't going that far. I'm just saying down, because what we saw on this episode was, I just felt like it wasn't realistic. That's just my opinion.
Not for all that they consumed.
What do you think about that scene?
All I could think of was they have to be microdosing these edibles, because there is no way on God's green acre that they are eating this much and they ain't dead. Like, seriously, like, I mean, not trying to self-incriminate myself. How and ever, 100 milligrams can sit you down. And anybody knows that sweet over savory is really a potency that you do not play with, because of the fact that you have cakes and you have cookies and you're not paying attention that these things are made with marijuana. You're so caught up in the taste. And to the point where it's like, you sitting there, you just like, my mind knows I need to go to the bathroom, but my legs won't let me get up. Like, that is what is really given. So to that whole scenario, it's just like, I understand they were trying to mask the awkwardness of having the conversation or getting into the act. But like you said, that was the thing that they should have had a conversation about. Because, I mean, not for nothing, we all got that one joint. Oh, excuse me, that one person. I want to be too hood. That one
person he was talking about. I'm like, the person.
Nah, that one person that, like, if they came back around, that spark goes up, and it's like, well, I ain't that same person you knew back then. So let me show you how it's really hitting these days. And then it's like, that's just, it was so awkward. But it was funny to watch.
It was awkward, but it was funny to watch because it's realistic. You do get back with somebody, you've been waiting, you can't wait to get into it, and the whole, you ain't even say it, and this is perfect for you to say it, because She's doing the reverse cowgirl.
Oh, Harlem Stroke! And she was just like that too.
She was. She really was. I was just like, this is bad sexual posture right here. Camille, Meagan, but whatever.
But the back was arched perfectly, but she needed to be somewhere else with that.
I mean, hey, yeah, right.
If
so
you know.
So of course, they go down this road, they having fun. My man Ian talks about how he looks like Drake, how like he starts looking in the mirror, he's like, do you hear that? Do you see that? He starts crying, talking about his eyebrows. He said eyebrows don't get no love. He's like, well, what are they doing here? Like, I could just rip them off. And I'm like, yo, this is hilarious. So definitely my favorite scene of the episode. So of course, we have them having a conversation, finally really coming out and saying like, oh, you were doing this and I didn't really like it, or you were doing that and I just thought this is what you like to do, so I was trying to do it. And then they realized that they were just missing it completely, and finally it hits them, it dings, and they have a really, really amazing Shoshone, that turns out to, it seemed like both of them came, I mean,
at the same time, which is always amazing.
That is always the goal.
That's synchronism. That is yoked.
Yeah,
because you can't get that with everybody.
You shouldn't be able to get that with everybody. You know what I mean? So
that part.
So all right. So we're gonna move into. Wait a goddamn minute. Okay, never mind. So Ty again. Okay, so you're right. This episode was funny. So 4. Okay. 3. We in 3. But so So Ty decides that after killing what we hope were not real plants being harmed. You got her going over to her friend's house. Her friends who are her long-term queer friends,
best friends,
who are in a relationship, and she wants to go over to figure out what it's like to be in a relationship. And she quickly realizes that she's bored to death. Y'all read Heat and Soup. Got me sitting over here twiddling around in this chair while you clean. It's a lot of cleaning. Like, you really cleaning these candle holders, ma'am. Like, for real.
Listen, and it's not even the holidays.
But that's exactly what a real relationship looks like when you live together and you've been together for quite some time. These are things that you see. What you think Ty was feeling, watching this unfold?
I definitely feel like she put her foot in her mouth and she realized it sooner than she thought, because it's like it's that prime example of the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Like, you imagine, you're together, you're building this life, it's so great, it's so amazing, it's this, it's that, and then you look and you be like, well, bitch, y'all ain't really doing nothing too special. And that's the real thing. I mean, like, I definitely saw my parents and her best friend relationship. Excuse me. Like, that's what they do on the weekends. Like, they take turns cleaning. I know when me and my ex were together, that's one thing I will say I miss. Homie could clean. I went to work, doing overtime, I come back, Cinderella in the house. But I'm trying to tell you, he could not wash no dishes. He could not cook that well. He could not wash clothes. But the man could pick some shit up and clean up. I would say that. But it's what it is.
Yeah, but I also think that, piggybacking off of you, I feel like, we're in the era of social media, right? So we've all heard the saying that people are they want that relationship, right? They want the relationship they see, but they're not seeing this part of the relationship on the back.
They don't see the work that goes into the relationship.
They don't see the basics, the day-to-days. They're so consumed with the bae pictures and the vacations. And it's like, yeah, but somebody got to do the dishes, and somebody got to fold laundry, and somebody got to take the trash out. You know what I mean? These are things that we have to talk about. So I thought that was very interesting. At the end of the scene, Ty realizes that this is very truly...
get me out of here.
She's trying to get out, but then as she's walking out, she realizes, like, yeah, this is this is something to cherish. This is something that I get it now. This is what love and
this is perfect for you too.
Right. This is what a relationship looks like for you guys. And so I think that's good because she has understanding. I do think that Ty gets caught up in the hype sometimes. And then frankly, at this point, she doesn't know what she wants. So that could be a thing too.
I think Ty is the type of individual who's addicted to the newness and not pays attention to, okay, now that the newness is gone, what else is keeping you?
Right. Yeah.
So that's just my thought about that.
I agree with that. All right. So we're going to go over to Quinn. Whew. Quinn. So she is celebrating her dad's birthday. They're at the golf course, and I really do want to go to a real golf course. So
you got it, girl. I can't even do Top Golf.
Oh, I can't do nothing. I did not make that. Okay, because I'm gonna go to somebody's goddamn golf course. So she meets up with the parents, and of course, per usual, her mama is always doing some messy shit. She brings over what our good friend Sherelle calls Gumby.
No, I called him Gumby.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So Gumby, right? Because of this haircut. And y'all, listen, just put it in the comments. I know y'all seen this. Yeah. What was your first thoughts when you saw it though? Like, I need to know what your first thought was when you saw it, because our first thought was laughing in the group chat for sure. Like, is this his real hair? Is this real? Is this on?
Is this a wig?
Is this a Tyler Perry wig? Is this on purpose? Because
is this intentional?
But so Quinn's mom hooks her up with this guy, and she's like, what is happening right now? But turns out this dude is very cool. They have a lot in common. He is the kind of guy that she would date if she were dating right now. But she's still heartbroken over Isabella. She has a moment where she goes and fetches essentially her dad's ball because he lost it somewhere in the sand, and comes back and she's talking to him, and he's like, well, are you going to tell your mom what's going on? And she's like, no, because she's not you. And and then basically says that I'm trying to figure out what was said right here because I'm drawing a blank.
She thinks that her mom would not understand what it's like,
right?
For this new experience, because this is the first girl that Quinn's ever dated,
right?
And as time is going on, we see that it comes out because her mom's just being so persistent with it. You know what I'm saying? And she just like it blows up at the end. And that's what things do. That's what happens when you hold things in. It's going to blow up because it's festering. And I appreciated this moment because this is a real moment for her mom to be like, you think I don't care about your feelings, but you don't tell me anything. So how can I care? You know what I'm saying? How could I know that you're not interested in men? How do I know that you're interested in women, or you're trying to figure it out? You don't tell me anything. And dad is a cool dad, but you don't want to tell me anything.
Right.
And so I would say the only thing about that whole interaction is Rick Fox did not have that one bit of accent the entire exchange until he's trying to break up Quinn and her mother from bickering. And I'm just like, sir, where did this happen?
Shout out to Rick Fox for just still looking so damn good after all these years.
And being the true bohemian that he is.
That part. For real. I think the thing to focus on, of course, the whole scene, but also that Quinn says, do you ever stop to think that, I feel some sort of way, or I have these issues because of my own mother. I'm never good enough, right? And I felt her, because I feel like so many of us are still, well, not so many of us, but yeah, many of us are still sometimes dealing with that trauma from wanting to be perfect or the best version of ourselves for our parents, or like what they envision us to be. And so I think that that's something that they have to, or that we have to, like address. But I like that they brought that up in this episode, because it's a lot of, first of all, the whole series is always going to give you good discussion topics if you know how to have a conversation. But this
exactly.
So we see her, basically have that moment with her mom, and then she kind of says like, touche, like, I'm sorry, because you're right, I don't really share with you. So that we move forward, and we go over to your favorite girl.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Angie.
And so Angie, we've always wondered where Angie gets this extra ass personality from. She's over the top. And, you know, she mentions to the girls at brunch that she's going to her family's for a big barbecue and everything like that. And so she goes to Staten Island, which, if anyone who's familiar with New York knows, that is not a short trip. So she finally makes it to Staten Island, where she's greeted by her whole family. And lo and behold, Angie is the celebrity of the family. Little do we know, like, everyone's standing out front waiting to see her. And who but the perfect pairing to play her mother, but Sherry Shepherd, and who is just as extra as she is. Absolutely. And, you know, she sees all of her brothers. And I will say the one thing that I love is the fact that, you know, when the girls mention her stepbrothers or half brothers, she's like, we don't do all that. Yeah, they are my brothers. Yeah, period. I love that. And I love that because I come from a blended family, and that's how I say about my brothers and sisters. So you know, she comes in and she's having all these moments, and it's so beautiful to see Angie with her family. Like, her brothers are lined up to receive her and give her hugs and give her love after she hugs her parents. And you see her playing with her nieces and nephews and entertaining them with their little tea parties, and they're playing the games. And she has the one beautiful moment I saw was how she has this moment where, of course, she's smoking with her brothers in the garage, which every family, you know, we got that connection where some of us might get together to go, you know, pregame or whatever. And then as they go to break off to go get something to eat, Little Rail, who plays one of her older brothers, pulls her to the side and just, you know, props her up and like, you know, you're a star. You keep getting all these no's, but you keep going at it. Right. And, you know, that's something to find admirable. However, we later see that she has this moment where she doesn't feel like she is enough. And this moment with her and her mom, played by Sherry Shepherd, was so beautiful to me, because she was like, don't you ever think that. You weren't raised in a house where you were told you were too much. You were always told that you were beautiful enough. You were this, you were that. And it's more of a reassurance. And she was like, you are a creation of me. And I know that you're wonderful, just like all of them out there, all those boys. They might not be mine. They might not have my blood, but they're a representation of me. So don't ever think that you're never good enough. And I think sometimes we as adults, even though we're grown, we have our moments where we do need that pick me up from our parents, that reassurance, you know, to let us know that, you know, this is just a moment. Don't get caught up in it. And I like I said, I loved it. What did you think about her connection with her family?
I mean, I love it. You know, I'm the oldest. However, my youngest brother reminds me a little bit of how Lil Rel had, you know, his character. Because
younger brother.
He's older now. He's officially 30. And so he gives some of the world's best advice, like at 30. And I'm, you know, so it's like to go to him and to be able to be supported and lifted up by family, but specifically, of course, by Black men is very important to me. And then, of course, you know, the moment she had with her mom is nothing short of a Black mother's amazing love and grace, you know what I mean, and support for their kid. And so I loved it. I thought that she spoke to all daughters, Black daughters in that moment, Black sons in that moment. And I think that that's going to be something that people are going to clip and that's going to be a GIF, you know what I mean, or a GIF, whatever you want to call it. When you're going through and you, we don't do that over here. Like, you are amazing. You are loved. You are absolutely needed in this world. Is doing amazing things because you're in it. So I really thought that was beautiful. So we have all the girls, you know, going their own separate ways in this episode, finding themselves apart from each other, which I thought was really good. And then sadly, we have Camille and Ian's great orgasmic experience getting interrupted, or not interrupted, but getting soured by the delivery of a lawsuit that he's now been served by Mira's parents. And so that's where we go into episode 2. So I was totally, sorry. I definitely went backwards. Episode 4. I didn't see that coming, but I knew it was something bad by his reaction. I just didn't know what it was. And so to see that this is a lawsuit is $68,000, and Listen, this was an expensive ass wedding. I'm not doing my wedding finna be 10 grand, and that's still a lot. You know what I mean?
10 grand, girl. That's a trip alone.
Listen,
I'm sorry. I'm going abroad. We're not being.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely not doing a stateside wedding for sure. I mean, I'm not even from here, so like Caribbean blood, Caribbean wedding all day long. Like maybe not where my parents were from, but you know, still somebody's blue island with nice white sands and aquamarine water is coming soon. But yeah, so we have, of course, the whole lawsuit thing and them having a conversation, talking about it and trying to figure out like what's gonna happen and this and the third. And then they get back to the couch and they're talking and they're seeing, and Ian's like, oh yeah, by the way, your little your hairband,
I found this. Yeah.
And she's like, that's not my hairband, that's my new ring. I ain't gonna hold you. If you know, I mean, I've lost a new ring or two in my day, you know, but it happens. You feel me? So, of course, this leads to a very interesting conversation because NuvaRing is birth control for the men who don't know, right? It's an insert, looks like a scrunchie. You put it in and wraps around the cervix. Boom, you keep it moving. Now, in this particular case, it came out after sex, and it's right. Hello, for real. And Ian is like, it wouldn't be the worst thing that happened, right? We're older now. We've always talked about having kids, whereas Camille looks very distraught. Like, I don't know about that. So let me go ahead and make a phone call, an appointment with my doctor. And this is when we see her and Ty bond a little bit because the girls are getting ready for, is this Pride?
Well, no, they are just being a support to Quinn while she tries to get her life together and pick out what she's going to wear for her 73 questions for Vogue, which I think is amazing that she still has the opportunity to do, considering that the woman who her best friend ruined her future happiness got her.
Yeah, but is that, I just feel like that's by default. I feel like Mary just was not thinking about it. Like her focus was not on calling and canceling 73 questions for sure. It was just like, I can't believe this bitch ruined my wedding. And
yeah, I'm with you because God's not going to bless you like that. That's what my mama would say.
Right. Yeah. Facts. So of course, you know, they're talking about it, and Angie is they're at Quinn's shop, like you said. Angie says that she's going out for a part or going to read at the table read for the Hallmark Christmas movie, and Camille said that she has the doctor's appointment and invites Ty to come with her because the doctors that Ty went to suggested a hysterectomy. Now, Ty suffers from, I believe, cysts and fibroids, and particularly
and low platelets too.
Right. So she was going in for the
blood transfusions.
And she of course you cannot do blood transfusions on a long-term basis. And so I think that again, just a real thing to talk about is that unfortunately white doctors, when it comes to OBGYNs, you know, fibroids, PCOS, cysts, all those types of things,
endometriosis,
right, they do recommend hysterectomies. More Black women are offered hysterectomies than there are white women for sure. Like so we have Ty and Camille going to the doctor, having this conversation. Camille's like, listen, can you replace my NuvaRing? Better yet, can you give me an IUD? And the doctor's like, are you sure you don't want to have kids sometime soon? You know, and she's like, 3 years. She's like, I don't know. Thinking about Ian, maybe he wants them, maybe he doesn't. I'm not sure. Like, where are we going with this? She's like, it's fine. I'll just take the NuvaRing. And then Ty's telling the doctor what's going on with her and how the doctors have, her other previous doctors had, you know, talked about a hysterectomy. And she goes, you know, we have way other things, a variety of other options that you have before we get to hysterectomy. Let's do fertility testing to see where you guys are at, both of you. That way you can make better choices from here on out.
Exactly.
So as somebody who's currently going through the fertility process, like, you know, excuse me, as I'm getting older, Well, I'm not considering like freezing my eggs or anything like that. Just the fertility process in itself of learning about genetics and how many eggs you have, because women are born with all the eggs they will ever reproduce. So it's a very interesting to see this play out on TV, which I thought was really cool. So yeah. So we have that going on. And then we actually get back to Quinn, who's getting ready to do the 73 questions. But she's freezing and she's missing questions and cues.
She just can't get through it.
Just can't get through it. She can't figure it out. And at this point, as me, you, and Sherelle had talked about previously, she's spiraling. Spiraling, and this is what depression looks like when you're unsure of why you're unhappy when everything around you is going great and you should be happy. What were your thoughts seeing Quinn like this? Because by this time she now has missed her parents' vow.
Not yet.
No.
Not while she's going through the questioning of it. Like, to me, during this part, so Quinn's parents are scheduled to have, they have their vow renewal happening the same day that she just so happens to have her 73 questions of vote. But this is, like you mentioned when we were discussing it, this is, to me, the breaking point where depression is on the horizon and the anxiety is starting to creep in, because you're now getting hit with these things that's reminding you of the things that are making you unhappy. Right. And to see her freeze up with the simple question of what 3 things make you happy, or what what 3 things do you love, or I can't exactly remember what the question was.
You happy, and
okay, yeah.
On the scale of 1 to 10, how happy
are you? Right. Yeah. And so the fact that she kept freezing up and she kept getting flustered, the writings were on the wall. She just didn't know how to read it. And I think that speaks very much to those who do deal with depression and deal with anxiety. Myself and we both have expressed in other reviews how, mental health is not something that either of us play with. You and I both are empaths. You and I both have had our battles with depression and anxiety. And I think that this is something that is not talked about enough, because it's one thing to expect it from your friend who's always kind of meek or kind of like dreary or about life, but to see it from someone who's always so upbeat every time you see them,
right?
To see them now spiral out like she did and crash and burn, it was just like, wow. Like at that moment when we later see her in the bathtub and she's just weeping and crying, and the girls are hitting her up wondering where she is. Yeah. It's like you just want to reach into the screen and just pull her up and just hug her. So that to me, I think this episode is probably one of the realest episodes that we have had so far, because of the fact that, like you said, about the topic of the fertility and everything like that, and the conversation about Black women and their options that they have. I don't think, and excuse me for the tangent I'm on right now, but coming from being a man that grew up in a single Black woman's household with a single Black mom and sister that's a single Black mom, that was, to know the pressures and the issues that go with reproductive organs and trying to, be pregnant and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's something that we need to see play out more on TV with people that look like us around our age. And I think it was amazing that they did it like that, because it's not talked about enough. Like you said, It's just, this was an episode I think is going to garner a lot of conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. And I also think that it's interesting that it's coming on the heels of a conversation I just happened to watch earlier today. I believe her name is Ebony K. Williams, who was a housewife
of New York.
And she was talking about like being a single mother on purpose, like the fertility, the choosing a donor, all those things. Like that's real. It's a real conversation. I don't know how real it is in other communities, and I'm not concerned with other communities, no shade, but I'm concerned with the Black community, because even listening to that interview or that episode, Charlemagne the God is just like, I can't understand why we have so many amazing, beautiful Black women who are single who have to take this journey alone. And I'm just like, bruh, I'm glad you said it. I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? But I do believe that I am somebody worthy of a husband and having a child in a 2-parent household. But a lot of my friends and I have had conversations on considering co-parenting, like a friend who doesn't have a kid, who wants a kid. You don't have to do it the old-fashioned way. Maybe he does donate in the cup and then you conceive that way. But being a real, like, legally binded co-parent situation where everything is written out, your spiritual goals, your values, all those things align for you to raise this child in a loving way. And I think that that's something that we need to, like, really talk about. But again, with Quinn, I feel like this is something that's going to impact a lot of people, because for people who don't even know that they might be suffering from depression,
exactly,
this is that point where Quinn is still faking the funk. And, oh, girls, I had a great interview with Vogue and I'm out, have fun.
Partying, turn up.
And I think that that's real right there. That's really real. And so I'm interested to see how this pans out in the next few episodes as we continue to watch. Now, moving on to your girl, Angie, who, so of course, she lands the role in this new Christmas movie at Hallmark, which I will say again, gave me very Get Out-ish vibes when she got off the elevator.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Very fucking creepy, right?
The Shining Twins.
Yeah, like the Shining Twins, the fake snow, the getting to the table, and like, oh, I loved you and Moesha. Oh my God, I never watched that show. And no, that's not her. That's a replacement. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a contrast, the way that they did. Listen, there's so much colorism that we have experienced in these last couple of episodes with Angie, for sure. That was very subtle, but this one I feel like was the biggest for sure. Because we have that other episode with her doing the dip audition, right?
That was episode 3, as a matter of fact. Yes.
So what? I'm sorry. So
I would say this. I think within the Black community, we are able to see colorism in a totally different way than any non-Black person will see colorism, because they will just see us just as Black, unless you happen to look exotic. Like, you got a little bit of Black in you, but you're something else, right? Like, what are you? But I think for us, we can tell the difference when you have someone who is light versus someone who is dark, or someone who is in the middle, whatever the case may be. And this, to me, just read racism all over it, because it's like, we all look alike. Like, we all look alike.
Right.
And we don't. You know what I'm saying? Well, there are some of us that, look from the same tribe, but for the majority, we're not all looking alike. That's just like me going up to, Tom Hanks and calling him random white actor. You know what I'm saying? Daniel Craig. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, regardless of the fact, it's just like, that's just something that you do not do. Even if you're trying to make a good impression or hype up a situation to get someone to garner attention, to have someone to be invested in what you're trying to do. That's not the way to go about it. You know what I'm saying?
Agree. I think that it was so like, it was cringy. And to be quite honest, I have just been noticing a lot of microaggression racism in the last couple of like months, I guess, that when I see certain things, it stands out like a sore thumb, because I'm like, so this what we doing? Like, this is what we doing? Like, okay. But nonetheless, she lands the role, and in the role, she has to ride a bike, and she doesn't know how to ride a bike. And so Ian tells her that Ian is gonna teach her. Like, she volunteers Ian. Ian does decide that he wants to help. So he comes out, he's helping her ride a bike. First of all, we know that ain't true, because where your training wheels at? You're not just getting on a bike and then finally getting in 2 wheels and then riding off. Like, okay, but nonetheless, she ended up in
too damn big for some damn training wheels now. Come on.
Then you might be right. You might be right, but this is why she ended up in the trash.
I mean, as an adult, yeah, that is it.
She ended up in the trash, right? Scraped her knee, acted like a whole 5-year-old. And it's in this moment that Camille can see Ian as a dad. Like he has that instinct.
Which is so sexy.
It was so natural. Like the way, I mean, seriously, this didn't even look like he was acting. It just looked like it was him.
Yeah.
But he is a new dad, right? So
exactly.
I mean, yeah. So so okay, so we have her doing that, but we get to her at Quinn's mom's or the parents' vow renewal, and she runs into Michael, who's trying to get a drink, and he says you've been waiting too long, and he tells her that he's gonna make some sort of display while she can go and get a bottle. And she grabs a bottle while he's over here faking an allergic reaction, needing an EpiPen. It's come to find out that she stole a bottle of syrup. Like, girl, of all the bottles
you can't even get drunk off of that.
It's trash, yo. But they hit it off. They have a moment, and I think that she does. Okay, so they have a moment, and he says, "Get on a bike," and she's like, "I don't know how to ride the bike," this and third. So they go over there on the other side of the street, look like a little bit down, just in the park. Riding bikes because now she got it. She's figured it out. You know what I mean? And she's enjoying herself, having fun. They end with a kiss, and I'm thinking to myself, it looks nice, and this looks good on Angie. This newness of not just leading with sex, right? Because I feel like in the previous episode and the previous seasons, it's kind of been like leading with sex, where in this moment, at least it's leading with a bike ride, like a bike lesson before the sex.
Right, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's like she throws. It's like it's been like thrown at you in the past, where this was more of a subtle like ease into it.
Yeah.
I like this for Angie because. So there's this thing that a lot of people have started to do as far as weddings, because we see it on Instagram and stuff like that, where your attention is on the groom when the bride is walking down or everything like that. And in this episode, I kind of had that moment too, because you see the sparkle in Michael's eye as he's like looking at her, and his face is like lit up, and happiness and joy watching her find happiness in accomplishing something that she didn't think she could ever do.
Right.
And she's actually giddy in this moment.
Yeah.
And almost childlike. And I am so happy for my girl, because you all know I have been rooting for Angie forever. When I tell you I love me some Angie, like I feel like Angie is my best friend in real life.
Wow, just kick me to the curb. Cool.
Well, I know. No, I love you. I love you. You know I love you. I had to put in my Valley voice. I love you.
About this for Angie is that he sees her. He's not seeing her body. He's not seeing her sexual prowess. He's
not objectifying her.
Right, and I love that for her. And so of course, this is a great ending for the episode for Angie. We go back over to Ty and Camille having a conversation, and Ty's like, well, tell me the news. And, and I think this is something that we also have to be mindful of too, is that when going on that journey down fertility roads, you do not know. You need to be mindful and kind of go in a very neutral space, because your excitement might not be somebody else's excitement. But needless to say, Ty is like, tell me what's going on, like, and Ty tells her that her results came back, really great, and the doctor said that she should, consider freezing them, and she may really consider freezing her eggs. Whereas with Camille, she says, I don't know if I can have kids, and what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't even know how to tell Ian about that. And we end off with Ian coming up and saying, tell me about what? So real cliffhanger. I'm wondering how she's gonna finagle her way out of this one. But this conversation is so real, and for the women who are going to watch this review and are going through a fertility journey or have been through a fertility journey, please share your thoughts and your comments. If you're going through currently, I'm there with you. Please follow me on social media at Amaya Desire, and talk to me. I'm all ears. I'm on to listen. But yeah, I think this episode is where we do start getting in the depth of our characters. And I like that this is the direction we're going in. What are your few last thoughts for us wrapping up?
I think that, as you, to piggyback off of what you said, this is the direction we're going. Like, these are the conversations that we're having. We're at the same age range as they are, where this is a very, very real life thing. You know, as a single Black man with no children, I too feel you with the thought of, maybe I want kids, maybe I don't, maybe I can, maybe I can't. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage the women, as you stated, to follow you and discuss it with you. And I'll tell them, as I've told other women that I know, if this is your struggle, if this is your journey, first of all, let me take that back and not say that it is a struggle. This is just an experience. It's an experience.
Yeah.
And this is just a moment. It is not your circumstance. It's just a moment in your story. And don't let this become a story that you have a moment in. And, you know, things happen. God is not out of the business of making miracles. So
absolutely, I love it. So you know what it is, y'all. Drop your comments, your thoughts, what you like, what you didn't like. Tell us what you want to hear more of. Did we miss something? You know, let us know, and you will find us here again next week with episodes 5 and 6. I can't wait until next time.
Deuces.